ultimately they prevailed, and we granted them, we made them victorious. Look at them. وَلَقَدْ جَاءَكَ مِن نَبَأِ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. Indeed, you have received their message, their stories. And in another ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَكُلًّا نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ مِنْ أَنْبَاءِ الرُّسُلِ مَا نُثَبِّتُ بِهِ فُؤَادَكَ. We are letting you their story, the story of the messengers before you, what we strengthen your heart. مَا نُثَبِّتُ بِهِ فُؤَادَكَ وَرَتَّلْنَاهُ تَرْتِيلًا. These stories for you to strengthen you and make you more strong against disbelievers. You should look at Noah, you should look at Ibrahim, and you should realize how difficulties they faced, and you should follow the same way. فَاصْبِرْ كَمَا صَبَرَ أُولُو الْعَزْمِ مِنَ الرُّسُلِ. Be patient like the messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like the strong messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلًا مِّن قَبْلِكَ. Indeed, we have sent, and we can understand from the ayah that the mission of the Prophet wasn't easy. You can understand from the ayah, it wasn't easy. Some people think that he was receiving revelation, and it's very nice and it's very important. So he was, in every single moment, he was with the revelation or with the angels, and he was able to do whatever he wanted, and he was knowing about the unseen, and the angels was supporting him in everywhere. No, of course he was receiving the revelation, but after that moment he was like one of us. He wasn't having that power. He was limited like us. They were torturing him. Quraysh tortured him, and he couldn't do anything against them. He only resisted against them as a human being. And maybe sometimes he cried, maybe sometimes the difficulties changed his psychology, and maybe the difficulty of that situation, he lived every single difficulties in Quraysh, against Quraysh, and they mocked at him, they made fun of him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ نَعْلَمُ أَنَّكَ يَضِيقُ صَدْرُكَ بِمَا يَقُولُونَ. We, of course, we know that your breast constricted by their sayings, because of their sayings. They mocked at him, and they underestimate his mission, and they said, you are a liar. And many kind of difficulties he faced. So you can understand from the ayah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala consoled his prophet, can understand that his situation wasn't so easy. It was very difficult situation. It was very difficult mission. وَلَقَدْ نَعْلَمُ أَنَّكَ يَضِيقُ صَدْرُكَ بِمَا. After revelation, he wasn't seeing an angel. He wasn't know about the unseen, and it wasn't his hand to receive or to invite the angel, and he wasn't inviting the angel. He was making dua like us. He was inviting the Creator to help him, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wasn't coming him at that moment. As soon as he invites him, like one of us, making dua, one day, second day, third day, making dua, repeating his dua. Once he made dua for 40 days against Quraysh in his salah, qunut. Qanata Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So he was making dua like one of us throughout the nights, invoking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His mission wasn't easy. In Badr, the battle of Badr, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam at that night invoked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make him victorious. He wasn't sure that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make him victorious whether he does his responsibility or not. He was aware that he should do his responsibility. He should do whatever should be done, and then should invoke Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throughout the night. Oh Allah, please make us victorious. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him victorious after a period of time. Many difficulties in that period of time. They showed that they are ready to sacrifice everything for their belief. This what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see, or this what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to be apparent in our life. We should show it firstly to ourselves that we are ready, that we are certain about this truth, and we are ready to sacrifice for this truth. Of course, first of all, we should be certain about that truth, and we should make our research, and we should go that way, going after the truth, in order to be sure and certain about it. And in that way, in that journey, we should know that our Creator will guide us. No way. Of course, He will guide us. He will not remain us in vain. Of course, He will guide us. Remember, Prophet Ibrahim, he said, الَّذِي خَلَقَنِي فَهُوَ يَهْدِينِ. The one who created me, of course, He will guide me. We should be sure about this. And then we should be ready to receive that guidance and look after it and search it. We should do our responsibility. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our Creator, name Him whatever you want, the Creator of the universe, the Creator of the heavens and the earth, the one who caused us to live and to die. All of them His names. وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى فَادْعُوهُ بِهَا. There is only one God, and He does as He wills. And whatever you see, these actions out of His power. وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلًا مِّن قَبْلِكَ. Many messengers before you, O Muhammad. This ayah comes to our Prophet, right, to console him, right, but there is message for us. Even the Prophet faced these kind of difficulties. Even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made even the Prophet facing these difficulties, did not make him an exception. Even it was his responsibility to resist against these difficulties, to sacrifice. So we should know that Allah will not make us an exception. Of course He will test us, and of course He will make us facing some kind of difficulties like this. And of course He will make us sacrificing for the truth. We should be ready to sacrifice for the truth. If not, we cannot succeed in this religion. أَمْ حَسِبْتُمْ أَن تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةِ. Did you think that you will enter Jannah? أَمْ حَسِبْتُمْ أَن تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةِ وَلَمَّا يَأْتِكُمْ مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ خَلَوْا مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ. Before the days of those believers come to you, وَلَمَّا يَأْتِكُمْ مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ خَلَوْا مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ, the people of past, the believer of past, they faced many difficulties. مَسَّتْهُمُ الْبَأْسَاءُ وَالضَّرَّاءُ. Al-Ba'sa wal-Darra, the harmful things and disasters and ills, many things touched them. مَسَّتْهُمُ الْبَأْسَاءُ وَالضَّرَّاءُ وَزُلْزِلُوا حَتَّى يَقُولَ الرَّسُولُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ مَتَى نَصْرُ اللَّهِ. And these difficulties passed over them and made something like earthquake to them. وَزُلْزِلُوا, but this earthquake is in their hearts. وَزُلْزِلُوا حَتَّى, till the messengers and the believers with him said, مَتَى نَصْرُ اللَّهِ, when the victory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come, when Allah, the only one God, will support us. مَتَى نَصْرُ اللَّهِ. But they stayed believing in him. They only asked when it will come. So you can see how the difficulties they tasted, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested them. We should not think that we will not go through some difficulties like this. Without going through some difficulty like this, we'll enter Jannah. We will not enter Jannah without showing that we are ready to sacrifice for the truth, without any exception. We cannot say, I expect 99% of the truth and reject one of them. We cannot do that. We should accept and acknowledge every truth which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it clear for us. And we are not coerced, and we are not responsible to acknowledge something we couldn't understand it, we couldn't realize it. And the most important thing here is the sincerity. I cannot know whether you are certain about that truth or not, but be sure that your Creator knows you and your innermost thoughts better than you. You cannot fool him. We should be sincere towards our Creator. So the difficulties, suffering here on earth is required for what? For to show that we are ready to sacrifice for the truth. To show that we will not neglect the truth, and we will keep holding it. Otherwise, no one will reject the truth on the earth. If there wasn't suffering, you wouldn't find anyone rejecting the truth. If there wasn't desires against the truth, contradicting with the truth, you wouldn't see anyone against the truth.